Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy Ross, all the way from UK, who is staying up late tonight to do this with me. Thanks, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you again for staying up to do this. But anyway, so we are going to talk about this incredible album, which is actually my second favorite Bon Jovi album. It's obviously the band's 10th studio album. It was the first album to debut at number one, actually, on the first day. Um, and it was produced by John Shanks, Desmond Child, and I think Dan Huff also did a little bit of producing on it as well. It was recorded at Blackbird Studios in Nashville, and then it was recorded and mixed over in LA, Hollywood. I actually went to Blackbird Studios last year. We went to Nashville for vacation, and I knew that this was recorded there, so we actually stopped over there to see the studio, and it's like this really small studio. It's amazing the band actually went there to record it, but it's a cool looking studio. But it looks like it's like a studio for like up and coming bands. So that was interesting. Let's well, before we get to the album cover, it was also written and recorded right after the Have a Nice Day tour. I think the tour ended, I think, in July for Have a Nice Day of '06.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the band was writing and recording in September. So, and then John pulled back the album in early 2007. I think he wrote, if I remember correctly, I think he wrote four or five more songs, and only two of those made the album.
Yeah. There were a couple. I know of a couple that he added late, didn't he? That he
Right.
wanted.
Do you know what those two were? Because I can't remember.
Was I think one of them was Whole Lot of Leaving.
I think you're right. And then the second one, I think, was Any Other Day.
Possibly. I'm not sure. I know. I think I know it was one was Whole Lot of Leaving, but I'm not sure on the other.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah. Anyway, and obviously it's country influenced. So this became because of the success of Whose Age You Can't Go Home featuring Jennifer Nettles, which
Yeah.
Bon Jovi is the very first rock band to have a number one country hit.
Yeah.
And so, what's funny, when I remember when John was doing interviews, when he was starting to announce about how he was writing a new album, it was going to be country influenced. I don't know what your reaction was, but I remember I was like freaking. I was like, "What? They're going country? What?" I'm not a big country fan to begin with. I appreciate the music, but I'm not a fan of country music. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be the first time I won't be able to stand." It's actually my second favorite album. So I don't think it really country. I think it just had a little bit of twang, and I think the lyrics were the songwriting was the biggest part of being country influenced. That
Yeah.
style of
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah. I think John's described it as a Bon Jovi album with Nashville influence, hasn't he? It's not an out and out country album, but I think at the time it was probably a natural progression for them to do that. As you said, because of Who Says You Can't Go Home and the success of that song, it sort of made sense. And I quite like experimentation. So
Yeah.
I was sort of thinking, well, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't thinking at the time because I only actually became a fan just after this album.
Okay.
Which is a bit strange because obviously I knew the big Bon Jovi songs, You're Living on a Prayer, Your It's My Life, that kind of thing. And as I slowly got into them, I got into them around the time they were on the tour for this album. So I was watching on YouTube and bits and pieces, and it didn't bother me at all that their sound had changed. I like the experimentation, so it didn't bother me too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. And then a lot of this album too, John had expressed in interviews that it was a lot about artistic freedom, and then he did mention about how he was kind of writing about Richie's and David's divorce that they both had gone through. And when you listen to some of these songs, which we'll get into, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
But this album was also not. I'm trying to remember what it was nominated for. I think it was Best Pop Vocal Album in 2008. I can't. I think that was it, but it didn't win, unfortunately. But I remember watching the awards, hoping that they would win, and they didn't. But it is what it is. But let's go and talk about the amazing album cover because it is so. I love how simple it is, but yet it's so cool. You know, This is like one of those albums that when I go on a road trip or on vacation, I put this on just because it's like in a way, a road trip album.
Yeah, it's a good driving album.
Yeah, it is. I love how it has John sunglasses, a map, and
Yeah.
just showing where the band was going, I guess. What do you think of the album cover?
I think it's all right. I think it's. I mean, John said multiple times that he sort of wanted to stop putting his face on the albums because everything's reduced to a little square on iTunes and that kind of thing.
Yep.
I mean, he's sort of gone back on that with 2020, but
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. I think it's representative of the album. Lost Highway. That's essentially what the picture is. It's a road that's going to an unknown destination, isn't it? So it's fitting.
It sure is. Yeah. And another notable things that need to be mentioned about how great the promo for this album was just incredible, because I remember they premiered "You Want to Make a Memory" in I think April, and then the "You Want to Make a Memory" single came out in May, then the album came out in June. But like the promo was so good, like they were doing American Idol.
Yeah.
That episode where John and David did American Idol, and like six of the contestants.
And it was Bon Jovi week, wasn't it? So they were with the contestants and went through all the different songs, and that was cool to see. That's cool to see them sat down, sort of breaking down the songs and coming up with different ways of doing it. I think the "You Give Love a Bad Name" version that one of the contestants did was really off the wall, kind of strange. So it was a cool period for them. Good promo.
It's funny you mentioned Bad Name because I think he did like a beatbox or something like that.
Yeah.
The one performance I thought was really cool though was which I was surprised that was one of the songs, because when that came out, I was like, oh, they're just going to do a bunch of the hits that we all know, and I was so surprised to see "This Ain't a Love Song" on that. The one woman did. I can't remember her name, but she did it, and I was like, yes, like she is my favorite, and I actually voted for her just because she picked "This Ain't a Love Song."
I'm not sure. Did they get to pick their own song? I'm guessing that it's mass-produced show, I suppose. So there's some element of guidance, but
yeah, they got to pick it, and then they got to sit in a room with John and David and rehearse the song and stuff. And then they made it into their own, which was pretty cool. Yeah. Do you also remember Unplugged that they did? The Unplugged concert? It was the acoustic concert they did for MTV, VH1, and CMT.
Yes, vaguely.
All right, my friend.
I didn't see it at the time. I think I've seen it on YouTube since.
Yeah, it's good. And so I remember that was like a huge thing on VH1 that week. And there was Crossroads that they did with Sugarland.
The Crossroads with Sugarland is amazing. I love the show, and it's a shit I can't find it anywhere to rewatch.
I have it. I know I have it somewhere saved in my YouTube. I'll send it to you if I find it. Crossroads might have been before Lost Highway though. I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was. Anyway, and then this one too. Lost Highway, the concert DVD.
Yeah, great. I love that.
I love that because we'll get to the tour, but they weren't really going to do a tour for this album, which is weird. They were just going to do a few, like 10 shows here and there, and they performed this in its entirety, and it's good. Another good DVD too is the CMT picks, which you got this from Walmart if you bought the album. Like it was like a bundle, but this has CMT Crossroads on it, actually. Yeah. So you should look into getting this bad boy. Probably on eBay. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked here. Trying to think if there was any other promo.
I think there was a couple of. I mean, as you mentioned at the start, I'm from the UK. I think there was a couple of performances that the band did of "You Want to Make a Memory" over here on breakfast television. Sort of. Your equivalent of Good Morning America, but over here, so we have Good Morning Britain and that kind of thing. I think they did a performance on there of "You Want to Make a Memory," and there was also another chat show performance. So they were around. It was it was being promoted over here.
Yeah,
quite a bit. Before the as you said, before the album came out.
Right, because I know like technology, like today, for example, John was on the One show and then the Channel 4. all this around the world, or like I was able to live stream it while it was happening, which is really cool. But back in 2008, like I wouldn't have been able to see that for maybe 2, 3 days later if I was lucky, if it got aired to YouTube.
Yeah.
But thankfully, technology today, we're able to, if we have an experience here, you see it. If you guys have one, we see it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's get into the tour. So, like I said, this tour, I remember when the band announced they were just going to do like a 10-show residence, or back up, a 10-night summer tour in 2007. Then they were going to do a greatest hits tour in 2008, like the best of Bon Jovi. I forget what the name of it was going to be. They didn't release any dates yet, but then John turned it into, because I think they recorded the DVD, the Lost Highway concert DVD in Chicago, and then John was like, let's do this 10 nights at the Prudential Center. So they did. And that was actually, the poster behind me is from that show. Amazing. Yeah. Those shows. And then I think they opened the O2 Arena there in June 2007.
Yeah, they did. They did open. They opened the O2. I mean, they came back, didn't they, on the tour? So I think they did the O2 show. It's probably one of the first indoor shows they've done in Europe in a long, long time. Yeah. And then they came back and did, what was it, 6, 7 stadiums over here. As I said earlier, I wasn't a huge fan at this point. I was only getting into them during this tour.
Right.
And I'd probably been just coming out of sort of our high school, which I would have been 16 at the time. So I didn't have the wherewithal to go and see them on that tour. But
you didn't see them all on that one?
No, the first time I saw them was Circle Tour, which was at the O2, funnily enough.
Oh, nice. So this, I'm trying to remember. I think this tour hit Asia, North America, obviously, Oceania, Europe, Japan. I can't think. I think that covers it. And then what I really liked about this tour, and I went to these shows. I didn't do Central Park, but the tour ended at Central Park, and I couldn't go to Central Park, but I went to both Madison Square Garden shows. So I think Central Park, like
so
July.
Are you at the show that they recorded the live?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was at that show, and right there.
That
one. Yep. And so Central Park I didn't get to go to. That was on July 12th, but I went to the Madison Square Garden shows, 14th and 15th, and best shows I saw on that tour. Especially the last night, like John gave his all. And, like we're in a social media world now. But back then, it wasn't really, you really didn't find a lot of info out on social media. And I didn't know that this was going to be a recorded show until we went to the arena. And there's posters everywhere saying that you're going to be recorded. This is being filmed on a DVD and blah, blah, blah. And then it took like 2 years for it to come out.
Yeah. I that's one of the first bits of sort of Bon Jovi content I bought was that DVD.
Yeah.
As a fan at the time, I had sort of the greatest hits, and then I had got Lost Highway, funnily enough, and then The Circle when that came out. But as you say, the DVD took a couple of years to come out after it was recorded. And I watched that on repeat forever,
Yeah. And it was cool too with the When We Were Beautiful, which was part of the deluxe edition of The Circle. Yeah. But you got to see kind of behind the scenes of the Lost Highway tour, which was really cool. And to see the inner workings of the Central Park, because Central Park was like a nightmare.
Yeah.
You saw John, go into depth about that, which was pretty cool. One thing I want to mention about my Madison Square Garden, and I wish they would have put this on DVD. On the second night, they opened up with Glad All Over.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably the best opener I've ever seen in person at a concert, because like the way they had the stage, John popped out from underneath with stairs, and Tico's just beating the fuck out of his drum. John, and it's magical. If you haven't seen it, watch it on YouTube. One more thing I want to bring up about this tour was this tour is probably the best with openers. They had, My Chemical Romance, All American Rejects, who I wasn't a fan of either one until I saw them open for Bon Jovi. Same with Daughtry. And then, who else? There was Gretchen Wilson, and then I think Big and Rich opened up a couple times, too.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, John was very keen, wasn't he, on promoting All American Rejects at the time. They show up at the Unplugged performance, don't they, as well? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they did.
They do It's My Life, I think, with them.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about that. Yeah, and then Leanne Rhymes did "Till We Ain't Strangers Anymore" too on
Yeah,
the, which was.
yeah.
But so any other thoughts on Lost Highway, the album in general, before we get into the tracks?
No, I mean, I'm a bit of a musician myself, and I like production and things like that. So I found it interesting that they used, you mentioned at the start, Dan Huff, who is I think quite a well-renowned country producer.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's only my limited. I'm not a massive country fan myself, but just my limited knowledge. So I always find it interesting who John chooses to work with, because obviously he's used John Shanks since Have a Nice Day, and for him to have the wherewithal to bring in that country producer as well, just to give them that edge in the genre, is always quite interesting. And I think there are certain songs that he produced and John Shanks produced. I think it's sort of like a back and forth. I don't think it's wholly John Shanks and Dan Huff. I think they're separate, some of the songs I think that they produced.
Yeah, because Shanks didn't produce every single song on
Yeah.
this album, which is different from any other album. But
Mm.
so anyway, let's get into the first track, "Lost Highway." It was the second single released. It was released on, I want to say, September 9th, 2007. One of those. I think it was the 9th. It was written by John Richie and John Shanks. Um, where do we begin? I mean, the song is incredible. Obviously, it was. Have you ever seen the movie Wild Hogs?
I have, yeah, yeah.
I bought that movie just because it had Lost Highway in it, and I actually love the movie. It's the song is so fitting for the movie,
Yeah.
and it's a shame that it doesn't play until the final credits. But they have "Wanted Dead or Alive" in
Wanted
it.
Lives in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a surprise because I didn't know that was in there. But one of the things I love about this song is it's so good live, but the hey hey, and then John's just pounding the hell out of his guitar, and then like hey hey, and it's just I
Yeah.
always thought it was a great opener live. Um,
Yeah.
so what were your thoughts on the song?
I think it's a great song. I think it's what it probably deserves a bit more within the fan base. I think it's a really great song. The lyrics are great. And I think it's a Bon Jovi anthem, isn't it? Even though it has that country twang, it's one of those that they still play today. It's a staple in the set list. And yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a really good song, and it's up there with some of their best, I think.
Yeah, and the whole meaning behind it, and it really resembles what the album cover is. It's
Yeah.
all about, in my opinion, going to a new place, going to the unknown, and hoping for a better future, and to seeing where that road leads.
Mm.
So it has a lot of different expressions for the album cover. You look at the album cover and it's just like a roadway, but when you listen to the song, which is the track of the album too, is that it's all about going to the unknown, seeing where that road leads. And I think a lot of that part comes from Rich's divorce, because Rich was obviously having a tough time, and I think Richie really heavily related himself in these songs. I think this is one of them.
I,
I think he was on a new journey, and
yeah.
that's my opinion.
I think John really excels when there's John and Richie, obviously songwriting.
Yeah.
I think they really excel when there's something really. I know they talk about writing anthems all the time and writing songs that are universally, it's a universal message. But I think they quite often excel when it's something quite personal. I think they're really good at harnessing that and putting it into a song. And I think a lot of this album, as you say, with David and Richie's divorce and Richie's dad dying as well at the time, is really well worked into these songs to give them loads of meaning.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about the music video?
They're in a bar, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a cool video. I don't think there's any massive overarching messages specifically in the video. I just think it's just quite cool. Bon Jovi sat in a bar,
Well,
relaxed, playing the tune.
Yeah, well, when they were promoting Saturn at the time, and I think one of the cars was like a Saturn or something like that. I'm not good with
Yeah,
that car brand, but so that was in the video. But the video really gave the country's vibe. Like it proved that it was like a road trip kind of song, and then a country style song because like the band's like in this country bar and playing and stuff. And John's wearing a vest and stuff. So that was cool.
yeah.
Uh, what's your favorite lyric from this song?
I like the bridge.
Ah,
Uh,
you took mine. Took it. It's
Obviously,
my favorite.
it's great. The painter a saint of lonely soul. Tell this boy which way to go.
You
All
got
that.
you got to say the whole thing. Guide the car. You've got the key. Say farewell to mediocrity. Kicking off the cruise control. I'm turning up the radio. Got just enough religion and half a tank of gas. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, that last bit. I think that last bit's just a perfect sort of,
Yeah.
especially for the build up into that last chorus. The sort of
Yeah.
let's
Exactly.
go. The echoed vocal, the snare hit from Tico, and then back
Yeah.
into the chorus it's just great energy. It's great live. It's just great to listen to. Yeah.
Yep. Let's go to the next track, Summertime. And this was released as a single, but I think only Canada got it.
And yeah.
And I remember when it happened, and I think it was just a digital single. There wasn't. This is the time period like when physical CDs were starting to turn into digital here and there. But Lost Highway, You Want to Make a Memory came out in June. Lost Highway single came out in September, so there wasn't really any room for Summertime to be a single. Because here in the States, at least, I don't think it would have been good to release Summertime in the fall or December or anything. You'd have to. It's one of those
Yeah.
fun summertime songs, obviously, but I think it would have done very well as a single all around the world. I really do.
Yeah.
Uh, it was written by John Richie and John Shanks. One thing that I really love about this song is Tico with the drum,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning, like especially when they do it live on the Lost Highway tour. The boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
When he does it in the beginning, and then during the bridge right before the final chorus. And so that's like my favorite part of this song. Um, Another thing is I really like Richie's guitar style because I think in this you're more of a musician than I am. Doesn't Richie like he puts something like a tube on his finger or something and goes on the neck of the guitar and plays? I don't know what that's called.
It would be that slide guitar playing when you
Slide, yeah.
yeah
So
with the it's very country. It's a very country technique.
oh, it is okay. So maybe that's why they did it for the song. But I love that sound. I think it really added to the song.
It's the solo, isn't it? The guitar solo
Yeah.
part is
Well,
awesome.
I also think it's in the intro too. I've always wondered that, but by listening, I think it's in the intro as well because he does it on the DVD, but you don't hear it as much on the album.
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty sure it is. This is a really fun song to see live. It was played during the Lost Highway tour. Never again, except for the cruise in 2019, the European cruise. So I did the first cruise, but I did
Yeah.
the second cruise,
I
and
didn't go, but I've seen the set list, and yeah, they
yeah,
did do the summertime, which is
yeah.
such a surprise.
And I could be wrong, but I think it was an opener too, which I think would have been really cool to see. But yeah,
Yeah.
and the whole meaning, I think, see, this can be taken in different ways. Obviously, it's a fun summertime, be with your love by your side type song. But if you listen to like in the first verse, like these days life goes like this, wake up, check it out, something, it's about repeating the same routine every day, trying to get through your day. But what gets you through the day is the love by your side, your significant other or your family or whoever. What's your interpretation of this song?
Um, I'm, phew. I think it's one of those songs that Bon Jovi writes where it's just it is one of those universal message songs that I just mentioned. It's one of
Yep.
these where they're using a metaphor of summertime as you say, maybe a good relationship or a friendship or whatever it is, can be like that summertime feeling. And I suppose it ties into the Lost Highway, road trip sort of thing, and just having a good time and enjoying life. I think that is the main theme.
Yeah, exactly. What's your favorite lyric? Do you have a favorite lyric from this one?
I don't specifically have a favourite lyric, but I just like the verses. I like the sort of the phrasing in the verses, quite quick.
Yeah.
You know, almost spoken kind of lyrics, which I just think is quite cool. It's quite a little bit different from Bon Jovi. They don't often do that much, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I like to. I can't really pick a favorite lyric, but I would say like the first verse. These days life goes like this. Wake up,
Yeah.
checking out some list. Gotta be a little something more than this in the bottom of my coffee cup. But yeah, like you said, you said it perfectly with the verses, so I don't need to repeat it, obviously. Next track, You Want to Make a Memory. This is actually my favorite hit song. So,
Wow.
yep. This was the very first single released on May 18th, 2007. And I remember when this song debuted because I remember they announced it either on the fan club or on the band's official site, whatever, that they were premiering their new song. And it was like April. And I like to say it was American Idol that they played it. And I remember this is back before DVR days too. So like I remember I still have it downstairs. I have the VHS tape that I recorded with all the promo from that tour from that album. And I remember I'm surprised the tape still works. I probably watched that over and over until it either hit YouTube or the album came out 2 months later. But it's just such a great song. Uh, and
Yeah.
one thing I really love about this, obviously the whole song is perfect, but one of my favorite things about this song though is John at the end when he's singing the last memory and he's holding that note and
Holds it.
yep,
Yeah.
and you see it live and you just see that emotion in his face when it's incredible. I want to hear your take on this song. I mean, there's so much I could say about this.
I love this song as well. I think it's a really, really great song, and I think I've seen them do it live twice. Sort of comes in the middle of the set, doesn't it? Quite often, and it's one of those that Bon Jovi have written a lot of ballads in their time, and I think this one is really, really sort of to the point. I think it really captures the emotion that they were actually going for. Because it's really simple, it's a really simple song in terms of instrumentation. I think John makes that joke, doesn't he, about the only reason the guitar is sort of that dun dun dun, dun is because he was sat in a chair holding a guitar, sort of, and it shows. But I think that's a good thing because it really makes you focus on the lyric and the emotion of the song as opposed to some blazing guitar solo. It's just a great song, and I would quite happily have it in a set list every night if I saw it. Great. Yeah.
Another thing that I love about this song, which you don't ever see the band do this, is the last 30 seconds of the song when it's the band playing and then you hear Richie going ooh. I'm not a singer, but you know what I'm talking about. Anybody that's watching this will know that but they've never done that in a song before, and it's such a great way to close the song. Like you just want it to repeat over. You don't want that last second of the song because you just want it to keep going. But the whole meaning of the song to me is, and I think the video really helped me kind of navigate what the true meaning of the song was. And I think it's all about looking back and just looking at it as memory's sake, or B, wanting to recreate those memories, wanting to relive those moments with that person.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the music video because not only is it my favorite song, it's also my favorite music video too. Not because it's my favorite song, but it's just it adds so much to the song. I think music videos, they really complement a song sometimes, and this is the exact proof of that. Because you obviously know throughout the whole video, John is just watching her live her life, and you don't realize it till the very end. A, he's either a ghost, or B, he's looking in the past, which we'll get to. But it's just me you to see John watching her everything she's doing, getting ready for the party that she goes to at the end. And so my favorite part of the video, which was when he's standing there and he thinks that she's coming to him, like she sees him. And she does it, and she walks through him, and then you see John turn around and disappear. And I'm getting goosebumps just saying it. That it is so good, and that really added the emotion to the song. And I think that's why it became my favorite music video, because you like I said, you either think he's a ghost or he's looking in the past. You know, obviously he's looking at memories, obviously, and
Yeah, I think it's one of their better music videos, and I think that because like you say, you don't know whether is he a ghost, is he looking at is he seeing the past. I think they're the best music videos where even though it complements the song perfectly, it still leaves you having your own interpretation and your own question.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it's so sad too, because you're basically watching him depressed,
yeah.
clearly missing her, and like when he's like right in front of her, touching her, and I could go on and on. I love this song. Let's talk about our favorite lyric. Do you have a favorite lyric on this song?
I like the opening lyrics. Hello again, it's you and me. Kind of always like it used to be. I just like that. I think that sets up the song perfectly for the music video. For example, it sets up that whole. He's probably looking at the past, but is he? You don't know. So I just think it sets up the song really well. It's really good opening.
Yep, exactly. Mine would be the second verse. I dug up this old photograph. Look at all that hair we had. Bittersweet to laugh. The phone is ringing. I want to ask. The one part maybe it's like a term I've never heard, but do you know what the phone is ringing? I don't want to ask. What does that mean? Like you don't want to answer the phone, or you don't want to ask to answer? I don't get that.
I take that as I've always interpreted that lyric as maybe John in this song, or the character that he's talking about. Maybe he's more into her than she is to him, kind of thing.
Okay. So
he's maybe more enamored with her than she is with him. Hence why she walks through him in the end to someone, to someone else. The phone is ringing. I don't want to ask. Is this the other guy? Kind of thing.
See, I've wondered this for years, and I think you stomped it for me. Now I know. I always wondered that. Now I'm glad you brought that up. You're the man. As much as I can keep going, let's go to the next track. Whole Lot of Leaving, which was actually, I was surprised that this was a single, but it was the fifth and final single for the band, which was released in May 2008, right before the last 2 months of the tour. It was written by John. Live, I have 5 Bon Jovi songs that I don't really care for.
Live, it's overplayed.
Yeah, A Whole Lot of Leaving is one of those 5. And so at a concert, like the first 3 songs, I'm not really taking many pictures or videos. I'm just kind of enjoying the moment. Whole Lot of Leaving is the moment where I take out my camera, my phone, take my pictures, and do what I want. Because it's not that I hate the song. It's an okay song, but it just, everybody has their dislikes, and that's one of them for me, is that song.
I think I really like the song. I think it's over. I think I've heard it too much, and every time I've seen them, I think they've done it. I think they've played it every time I've seen them, and I've seen them 5 or 6 times. As many opportunities as I've had to see them over here in the UK. It's played a lot, and I can see why John likes it, because it's solely written by him, and obviously it's about Richie. It's been openly said.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's about Richie, and that's fine and that's great. But as I say, it's just overplayed. But I think it's a good song. I like the song.
Yeah, the song does have a lot of good points, and I don't dislike it. It's okay. What I do like about it, though, is like the guitar in the beginning, I can't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And I think it's like, this is probably like the most country sounding song on the album, I think. One thing I do like about the song, though, it live, is right during the bridge when he says, "Do we got it anymore?" And then it goes silent, and you just hear the crowd screaming, and so that's pretty cool,
Yeah.
And like I said, it's about Richie. My favorite lyric is it's pretty cool for late September. The autumn wind's been creeping, and the summer sun's packed up. It's long gone. There's a whole lot of leaving going on.
Yeah.
I think that was like the perfect intro to that song.
Yeah, I like. Is it the second verse? The close the window, draw the curtains. You ain't the only one here hurting. No one's right, no one's wrong. I think that's that's probably almost verbatim what John maybe said to Richie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sort of like that they were his words of wisdom to him, because you can imagine after the stuff that Richie went through with his divorce and his dad, that maybe he was sort of stuck in a bit of a rut and not feeling the best and a bit depressed about the whole thing. And John sort of giving him that perspective, or his bandmates, his friends giving him that perspective of, you ain't the only one here hurting, no one's right, no one's wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's literally out of the mouth of John is in what he said to him. So I think it's really honest and
it's like the lyric that you were just saying, you ain't the only one here hurting. It's a sign of unity, and I think that we'll get to. It also shows that in Everybody's Broken and The Last Night.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else you want to say about this song before we go to the next one?
No, I think that's good.
All right, let's do We Got It Going On, because I love this album or this song. It was written by John Richie and Big and Rich, and I think John wrote this like the first 5 minutes of meeting Big and Rich at a bar, and they just wrote it. And it was influenced by Beastie Boys. And when you hear it, you can kind of sense that.
Yeah.
And it's a fun song, and I love the drums on it, especially in the beginning, the dun, 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 and then it just boom, it picks up. I love it live. A lot of these last tours, he's kind of interacted with the crowds doing this and going behind the stage.
Yeah.
I think it's an incredible opener. So the cruise that I went on last 2019, it was the opener. No one was expecting it, and then you just saw John come on stage with the KOS, and they played "We Got It Going On" as an opener. And so I hope there's a day where the band is on tour and they open up with this, because it's honestly a great opener.
I can see that. It's a rocking song. It's a great.
It pumps you up, and I play it a lot during my workouts too, and
I always think it's in the same sort of group of songs from Bon Jovi as One Wild Night. I would put it in that kind of bag, where it's just a party song. It's good, fun rock and roll, and I think it has a place in today's set lists. I love it when they play it live. They played it once, I think, over here at the Coventry show, which I went to on the This House tour, and it's great. I think when I first heard it, I was like, compared to the rest of the songs on the album, this is like the most rocking track, and it's probably the closest to your older, the more rock and roll Bon Jovi, as opposed to the country Bon Jovi, even though it's got Big and Rich on it. But if you listen to any Big and Rich stuff, they're quite rocking country as well.
Exactly. And the thing too with this album is very deep lyric writing. It's very an emotional album, lyric wise and song wise. This
is a bit of relief.
We got it going on. A little bit of Summertime, and then I Love This Town. Those three songs really break up the constant
the heaviness.
Yeah. Which I'm a sucker for ballads, so I would be okay if the whole album was sad and but so I got two favorite lyrics from this, and I just love singing along to them live. The first one is, "We just want to have some fun. If you don't want to kiss this, everybody raise your hands. Come on, and need a witness."
Yeah.
And then I love, "Everybody's getting down. We're getting down to business. Insane freak train. You don't want to miss." I love it. I sing along to it every time. I love it. Do you have a favorite part of the song and lyric?
I think I have two. I like Getting Down with Big and Rich and Richie and John.
Yep, that was cool.
The name drop is just cool. I just like the fact that Bon Jovi did that they put the names in the song. But I also live, even though it's aimed at the women, I like John's whole, "I came back here tonight to hear 50,000 UK women screaming," that kind of thing. I just think it's just John Bon Jovi swagger all over to do that. So
that was actually the first time I saw a girl flash her boobs at a Bon Jovi concert. I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. There was like a girl, like two people down from me, and I was probably 18 or 19. Anyway, and you go to Kiss Motley Crue show, you always see boobs. but at a Bon Jovi show, and no disrespect to anybody that's watching this, but the girl that when John said, "I want to hear you scream," I was probably like maybe fifth row back, and she just like took her top and I was like, "Hey." So every time I hear that part now, I always think about that. Um, but I'm also glad that you mentioned about getting down with Big and Rich and Richie and John because it's so awkward seeing John perform that song, which I love they're still doing it. But when that line comes up with Richie and John, Richie's not there. It's just it's different.
Yeah, I wondered, after obviously we won't go into Richie's leaving, but after Richie left, I wondered when they performed that song whether John would just do it as it is, kind of thing. And I suppose it's in John's nature to do that. He's going to acknowledge Richie because he co-wrote it and he's a massive part of the band. So I quite like that when they do it, that line is in there, even though, as you say, it could be perceived as awkward. I think it's just quite good. It's quite reassuring for the fans, really, just to hear John sing that line.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Let's go to the next track, Any Other Day, which was written by John Ritchie and someone named Gordon Sampson. Gordy Sampson, I think was the name.
Yeah.
Gordy Sampson?
Yeah.
We'll go to the meaning first. So I think it's kind of similar to Summertime. There's different ways I perceive this song. First, like I said, it's kind of like repeating every day, like alarm clock rings at 6:45. So it's repeating every day and getting through the day, but knowing that your significant other can save you. That's what gets you through the day, knowing you get to see your family and love saves you. Yeah, that's essentially what I think of it. Just getting through the day.
This is my favorite song on the album.
Is it?
Yeah, I really I like this song. I feel like it's. I have a slightly different interpretation of it. I feel like it's about, as you mentioned, like Groundhog Day, the monotony of everyday life, and getting up the same thing every day. But I think it's sort of a depression again. I think it's reminiscent of Richie and Dave's life at the time, and sort of that I can't face another day kind of message. And somebody help, whether it's a friend or your significant other or whoever, or something, whether it could be music, something helping you through the day. And I think it's one, it's probably up there in my top 10 Bon Jovi songs of all time, this. I think it's really, really good. And I think it's one of those songs that they should probably still do live. It's probably a bit of a challenge because the chorus is quite high actually for this album, vocal. But I think it's a great song, and I love it live with the extended outros, with additional solos and stuff.
Yeah, it was great seeing like on the Lost Highway tour, seeing Lorenza play.
Yeah.
And then he kind of introduced the band, like he would introduce David and Richie and Lorenza, and each of them would get to do their parts. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I also love John in the verses. Just the way how it's kind of like smooth sailing, and then like you said, the chorus is kind of it takes you. It's like a roller coaster. Like the verses are like this, and all of a sudden the chorus, verses, then chorus, then the rest of it's a roller coaster with the guitar solo and all that.
It's sort of classic Bon Jovi that the chorus is big. It's a big chorus. Yeah. It's good. It's something you can sing along to and fist pump to live. But then I think the verses are brilliant. I think lyrically, some of the best lyrics John has, and Richie and co. Yeah, great.
My favorite part of the song is the bridge right before it goes in the final chorus. Alarm clock rings at 6:45. I like waking up with you on my mind, knowing that you're going to save me one more time.
Yeah.
So, but let's go to the next song, Seat Next to You. And this actually, it was written by John and Hillary Lindsey.
Is that the female vocal?
Female vocal.
Who do you know who the female vocalist is on this?
No, I thought it was her.
Is it so? Okay, I've never been able to find out who it is. But did she co-write it, or is she just the vocalist?
She co-wrote it, and I believe I could be wrong. That's a good question. I don't want to say she did, but I think she did. I knew it I knew it a long time ago, and it's one of the. It's like living on a prayer and this stuff feels right. That Olivia also.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but I don't know who did this one. But anyway, this song is actually near dear to my heart because my dad died. This was the last album and last tour. Right here behind me, a frame there is a framed T-shirt from the last show. My dad would take me to Bon Jovi concerts when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That was the last show and last merchandise that he bought me before he died. And so
Oh wow.
I had that framed here. Um, but anyway, so Seat Next to You is near and dear because this was the last album that my dad and I got to bond over.
Yeah.
And so Seat Next to You, when he died, the song really helped me transition. And I remember like the day that I found out that he had died, I had my headphones in the entire day, and this song was just on repeat. And it really pulled me through. But enough of sadness. Uh, I wish this was I wish this was played live a lot more because it's so good. You know, it was only played a few times. I think maybe once on the tour. I know it
Yeah.
was played for the DVD, but other than that, I think maybe one time. I think it was one of the Prudential shows.
Was it? Yeah, it was played a couple of times because
Yeah,
Lorenza Ponce did the female vocal in it, didn't she? Live, whenever they did do it. I think it was maybe played 3 or 4 times in the course of the tour. Very few, anyway.
right. And the whole meaning of the song, in my, like I said, with my, this is why I brought up my dad's death, because my view of it was it's all about heaven and just losing that person that you love, but knowing that you get to see them when if you believe in heaven or whatever you want to believe in. Like it's like that lyric when you get to the gates and the angels saying, "Go to that place where that church bells ring." No, I'll come running to find you. So my interpretation is heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
To
I think
that.
I think that's spot on though. I think that
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
that's what he's singing about.
yeah.
It,
It,
it's being in that place where the person you love is. It's going to be there with them in any form. It's
exactly.
yeah. It's just I think it's just a nice song. It's just a pleasant song, and it's clearly one of those songs that can help people through a tough time.
Yeah. And I think it's also similar to You Want to Make a Memory because
Yeah,
another interpretation you can have with it is looking back at the memories wish where you could go back to, such as, the old dirt road, the old park bench, downtown bar, the cigar. That's where I want to be.
yeah,
So it's a little similar to You Want to Make a Memory, is looking back and wishing you could be in that time and place with that person. But my favorite lyric of this song is "Life is like a Ferris wheel. When you get to the top, it's hard to look down. Just hang on, we'll make it through. Save me a seat next to you." And it's perfect for the bridge too. It just fits perfectly.
yeah. That's my favorite bit as well.
Yeah. Let's go to the next track. Everybody's Broken. It was written by John and Billy Falcon. Um, what I think really shines about this song is how the guitar and keys blend so perfectly together. And then John's vocals, especially during the verses, like when he sings "Okay" to be, that's good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the song was never played live. I don't, besides the DVD, I don't think it was ever played live, but I wish it was.
Mm.
This song has a lot of good meaning behind it. To me, it's all about we're all in this world together. And like, we're all broken in some way. You're not alone. And it helped me. This album came out when I was in high school. And obviously, any kid has trouble fitting in. Even if you're the most popular kid, you still have trouble fitting in. You feel like you don't fit in sometimes. And this song really helped me understand that I'm not the only one that's broken. The girl next to me, who's the most popular and prettiest girl in school, she might go home and not feel perfect. So that's how
Yeah.
I interpret the song. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it's that, isn't it? I think it's very much about being an individual, being yourself, and no matter what you think of yourself, it's okay because everybody thinks things about themselves and that kind of thing. And again, it probably comes from your whole Richie and Dave kind of their life experiences at the time. Yeah, I think the instrumentation in this is great. I like the sort of the dunna before each chorus. It's a little bit like "Creep" by Radiohead, if you know that song. That sort of has a similar sort of chugged guitar part just before the chorus, and I think it's really good for the emotion of the song. It really fits.
My favorite lyric is when you're wondering why you're breathing, know that you're not alone. It's so hard to believe what's easier to doubt. You're trying to hold in what you're dying to scream out. Pretty much, cry for help. And so what's your favorite lyric of the song?
I like the chorus, but I like the chorus, the sort of the broken down chorus halfway through, when John's vocal gets a little bit more emotional and pulled back. The sort of middle section of the song. I just like that juxtaposition next to the actual chorus kicking in and getting more emotion into it. I just think it's a nice musical device. It sounds good.
And one more thing about this, I laugh at myself when I do it, but I always play air piano in this song because, like the da 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 da. I love that part with the keys. Let's go to the next one. "Till We Ain't Strangers Anymore," which was written by John, Richie, and Brett James. Brett James, that's his name. And it was a third single. It was released on November 30th, 2007. And it was a duet with LeAnn Rimes. This is actually my favorite duet. And I've learned, I don't know if John said it or I just learned it somewhere over the years, but John said that this was actually written to be in low key with another male vocalist. But looking at the lyrics, it'd be weird to sing this with another guy.
Yeah, from John's perspective, that would be a bit weird.
Yeah.
I've not heard that before. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere over the years. I don't know if I heard John say it somewhere or just rumor. Who knows? But anyway, I love John's vocals on the song, especially during the bridge and the final chorus. Oh, it's so freaking good.
Yeah.
Obviously, this song is about going back in a relationship and fixing the things that went wrong. Like sometimes it's hard to love me, sometimes it's hard to know or to love me too. Sometimes it's hard to live. Sometimes it's hard to live you too. The music video is really good too. I loved how you see. I think it was filmed in New York City, and John and LeAnn Rimes. They kind of meet in the middle, at the bed's right there. So I really loved the video. My favorite lyric is "Sometimes it's hard to love me. Sometimes it's hard to love you too. I know it's hard believing that love could pull us through," and it makes me wonder if John and Richard were kind of writing the song in terms of Richie's divorce about trying to save things that they could have.
Yeah. I think it's definitely about that. I think it's definitely a divorce song, if you can call it that.
Yeah. It's definitely a troubled relationship.
Yeah.
But I think it was the part of Richie going through his divorce thinking, how could I have saved this? Blah blah blah. And I'm sure there was other factors too that John put in or Brett James put in. This was really good live too. It was only done a few times, obviously during promo, and Lorenza actually sang LeAnn Rimes parts once or twice, and it was good, really good. Let's go to the next track. "The Last Night" was written by John Richie and John Shanks. I always thought this song, as far as meaning goes, I think it was similar to "Everybody's Broken," that it's hard to get by and it's hard to feel alone all the time. But there's a sense of unity where we're in this together, and so like the last, this is gonna be the last night you have to be alone. These days, it's hard fitting in, or it's hard getting through and have those struggles. So that's. I think too. I think John was writing this about Richie too, with saying, "Richie, you're not alone. We're in this together, and we're gonna get through it." So it's a sense of hope, in a way.
Yeah, it's. I think you're quite right. It's very similar to Everybody's Broken, and I think it's obviously focusing on similar themes,
Right.
That the album focuses on.
Yeah,
I really like the lyric. There's nothing worse than living less when you yearn for something more. I think that's a great line. It's really poetic, really, really good.
yeah, and I love John's vocals going into the chorus.
This is another one that. This is another one that does that broken down sort of. It's the chorus, but it's pulled back, and I like it. I really like that. I think
when it's just, it's just like like when he's like very soft. This is the last night. Then all of a sudden it just picks up, and then you go into the chorus. It's a shame this is barely played. I don't think it was played live at all during the tour. I can't remember if it was, but my favorite lyric is "We're all looking for our answers. We're all down on our knees. All anybody really wants is something to believe. Enough is enough. I can't take any more."
Yeah.
And the part too, he adds so much emotion to this in the song. I'm standing at your front porch, kicking down your door. Like this is me. I love it. But let's go to the next track. One Step Closer, which is written by John Richie and John Shanks. I love the intro to this one.
The sort of violin.
I love that. I think there's some violin in that too, right?
Yeah, it's mostly violin. I think it's a great intro. It's a shame they wouldn't really be able to do it live now without having Lorenzo with them. But
I still think they could pull it off with a guitar. I think it'd be possible to do it, but I don't think we'll ever see this song live again.
No.
But I think it's all about coming from a dark place, and it's looking for something good, hopeful, being optimistic. And I think this is I keep saying it every song, but about Richie's divorce and David's. I think it's just coming from that dark place, and it's kind of like the album cover, going down this road and hoping for something good, and you don't know where it's going to lead, but being hopeful it's going to go somewhere good. That's my whole interpretation. One thing I do like about this song too, and it's part of my favorite lyric too. I hitched a ride with forgiveness in that river of emotion. I went down a third time. I spent the night with the living, took a chance, looked inside, didn't know who I'd find. Kind of like finding your inner self, finding who you are independently versus who you are in a relationship. So that's how I interpret it. And I love that line. And I love the way that John sings it.
Yeah, I think it's about being at peace with yourself, isn't it? It's accepting yourself for who you are, and as you say, it can tie to that whole divorce thing and Dave. Yeah.
We'll go to the next one. I Love This Town by John Richie and Billy Falcon. As we said, this is it breaks up the sadness from the album. Yeah. I feel like the last 6 songs we talked about sadness and finding hope and blah, blah, blah. But this song is like a perfect way to end that with just like some optimism, and it's, you can tell John is either writing about, being home where he's from, or B, concerts, visiting different places, and what's that lyric with the I feel the heart of the city pounding underneath my feet. I always feel like that's like about being at a concert.
I feel like this song's written for the fans. It's for the audience, isn't it? And him sort of reaching out to us as fans, I think, because he did it quite a lot, didn't he, at the end of shows? Or you could tell it was a particularly good night on not only the Lost Highway tour, but also the even into the What About Now tour. They were the Can tour. They were doing this. It had been 27 songs, and then they'd throw in "I Love This Town" right at the end, and I think that was a good seal at the end of a good night for John, and it was sort of his gift to the fans that I love this town. He could make it about where he was.
Exactly. Yep. And you know what else I love about this song too is like right at the like live when they're at the bridge and they're going to the front, and he's like, "Get him up, like raise your hands, get him up." And then you just Tico's pounding the fuck out of his drums, and it's just like full blown right into the choir. Like you said, it's such a great way to end a show that way. let's talk about the. I think we have a minute to talk about the bonus tracks because I don't think we can finish this without mentioning all the good songs that technically did not make this. Because here in America, I Love This Town was the last track. There was a special edition that had Lonely on it. So
The UK the UK standard version had Lonely on it.
okay, I can't think. I have the Australian edition too right here, and it has Lonely on this one too. Um, but there was Lonely, Put the Boy Back in Cowboy, Walk Like a Man. Am I forgetting any other one that we know of?
I think they're the three that I know of.
Okay. My favorite out of those three though is Walk Like a Man. It's definitely a country-ish song,
Yeah.
but I think it had a spot to be put on the album. I think it would have been a successful song. I really do.
Oh yeah, it would have. I mean, in preparation for doing this with you, I re-listened to Lost Highway earlier today, and listened to the bonus tracks. And Walk Like a Man, I was listening to, and a friend of mine, my housemate who I live with, he heard it, and he's quite a big country fan, and he said this song, if done by any other country artist today, would be a hit. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those songs where John should give it to someone else now, and he'd get a hit of it.
Yeah,
you know, kind of.
exactly. Well, what's your favorite outtake of this album?
I like Lonely. I mean, it's not an outtake in the UK, but I know it's a bonus track in most places. I think Lonely's great. It sounds like it should probably be from Destination Anywhere or something like that, even though it has
Exactly. Yeah.
country twang.
I also love how easygoing it is too. It's a very like I would love to see him do it at like a Runaway Trip or acoustic show.
Yeah.
The only one I really didn't care for was Put the Boy Back in Cowboy. It's okay. I was never crazy about it. I can see why it was an outtake. It's very in your face country. That one's definitely probably the most country one that they put out.
I think there's two reasons why they didn't use it. I think number one is it sounds a lot like Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. If you listen to them back,
doesn't it? Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it does. Similar, and also the sort of, I think there's the middle section, the sort of that kind of sort of, it's like a choppy violin bit is used in a Big and Rich song. I don't know whether John had then said, oh well, we're not releasing this, it's going to be a bonus track, you can use this. It's in what's the song that John and Richie did with Big and Rich that's not We Got It Going On? They did it for a Big and Rich album. I can't remember the name of it. It's on the Hillbilly Jedi album that Big and Rich did.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I forget the name of the song, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I think they gave them part of Put the Boy Back in Cowboy music that's part of the instrumentation, part of the music. So that's why I don't think they used it as their own song.
Well, I had a blast talking about this album with you. It was, it's like I said, it's my second favorite album. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm very passionate about this album. Like I could go hours and hours talking about this. But I want you to know I appreciate you staying up late to do this with me and to be able to talk about it. And I hope you stay safe. And again, I say thank you for doing this.
You too, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
All right. Take care, buddy.
You.